One of my favorite episodes from the massively overhated Season 6 was the Applejack and Fluttershy headlined Viva Las Pegasus. It utilized one of my favorite additions to the show in the Cutie map, and it brought together two characters who I believe desperately needed an episode together after how well Fluttershy's shyness and Applejack's stubbornness worked off each other in bats. Now here 2 seasons later, the show thankfully pairs them up again for their second map episode, which, funnily enough, Twilight pointed out for us.
This is the first time the map has teamed up the same ponies for a second quest.
Hey, stop taking my fun facts job, Twilight. Anyway, I love the idea of having Applejack's stubbornness and honesty helping Fluttershy see a bigger picture through an unfiltered lens, while Fluttershy's sympathy and kindness helps Applejack take a step back and be a little more empathetic to find a solution faster. And you know what? Sounds of Silence took everything great about their characters and their characters teaming up and knocked it out of the freaking park. There are several reasons why I love these two pairing up for an episode, especially in Sounds of Silence. For one thing, their different personalities helped foreshadow how they would help Autumn Blaze get the main ingredients to cure the vow of silence that the Kieran took from the Streams of Silence, which of course they state later on in the episode, but it was still a nice bit of foreshadowing with how it showcased that Fluttershy's more empathetic side with her animal friends gave them a clue for later on, and helped them figure out that the Kieran can only respond to yes or no questions, and that they're a more stoic creature than they've ever come across, which is also something AJ's stubbornness would never have been able to decipher. But then if it wasn't for AJ's more stubborn personality, they never would have figured out that their real problem is trying to deal with creatures who can understand them, but can't vocally respond because she absolutely refused to take their silence for an answer, and of course Fluttershy is a bit too timid to refuse herself, so it only makes sense. Yet AJ's refusal to deal with their mute responses led to her finding Autumn Blaze, the one Kieran who could talk back so they can understand just what the map called them for to fix. Sure, Fluttershy also found out through a mural what happened before and how the Kieran actually turned into Neerix, but AJ finding Autumn Blaze gave them a more detailed story and revealed that the problem is the Kieran were too afraid of hurting each other's feelings thanks to a massive fight and fire that they chose to give up emotions altogether, thus creating a rather dull and silent life for them. I really applaud the writers for how well AJ and Fluttershy's characters are woven into the story and how their personalities not only help move the story along in a natural way, but just how their opposite personalities can work side by side so well. The best part about this pairing for a map episode really comes into how close their elements of harmony tie into the moral, which is honestly one of, if not my absolute favorite moral the show has ever taught. With Autumn Blaze's beautiful song about not having rainbows without rain illustrating that life has its ups and downs, and how the episode gives off an allegory for dealing with different opinions, AJ and Fluttershy were the best for this episode, hooves down. See, the Kieran were afraid of repeating what happened before so much that they chose to never let that happen a second time by completely washing away all emotions in the Streams of Silence, along with giving up their voices, which is understandable given the destruction it caused before. However, with Applejack and Fluttershy's presence and Autumn Blaze's help, the Kieran learned that giving up all of their emotions just to keep one from popping up isn't the answer. Just like how AJ's stubbornness and Fluttershy's kindness worked hoof and hoof to discover their true mission, dealing with opinions has its own balances to deal with. No one should ever be afraid to be honest with someone, because if you're too kind or sugarcoat something too much because you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings, you'll never be able to truly get your point across to them, which could lead to someone never improving or making a mistake they never would have seen coming. On the other hoof, if you're too far honest to the point you only consider your own opinion, you can become too stubborn and never be able to improve or adapt, or even enjoy something more because you refuse to see another side. You need a good balance of being honest about your opinion while being kind enough to respect the opinions of others. That's how we all can learn from one another, to help us think, even if we disagree afterwards. Look how the Kieran turned into Neerix over a trivial vase, which I like to see as someone sharing an opinion on a movie or TV show on a message board. In short though, if we all stopped sharing opinions for fear of offending someone, pissing someone off, or even being afraid of sounding stupid or wrong, which unfortunately is what I went through when I first started on YouTube, not only will life get boring very quick, we'll never be able to grow and learn. Sure, people can get heated while sharing their thoughts or opinions, but just because discussions can get overblown doesn't mean they always will get out of control. What's important is realizing when it's going too far and both parties can collect themselves or find a safer outlet to release their pent-up heat. To add to that, I love the bonus lesson of the episode teaching that, yes, conversations and sharing opinions can get heated. Anger is inside of us, so it's only natural that sometimes it gets out. But the truly special aspect of this is it teaches that anger in of itself isn't a weakness. Succumbing to it and letting it get the best of you is. Finding a safe time and place to let it out if you do get too heated is treated as a strength, which is something I completely adore from this lesson. I like to look at what the Kieran did to themselves like this. Fine, you can take away all of your feelings. You'll never get angry again, but now you'll never be able to laugh, feel happy, or enjoy life anymore. You'll be nothing more than a mere soulless husk, going on about your day with nothing to look forward to. Or like in the 70s and 80s when certain songs were considered too controversial due to their suggestive lyrics or because of what they implied. You can just mute all the radio stations or destroy your radio. Now you don't have to worry about all that nasty rock and roll. But now you have no music to listen to keep you entertained, help you think, or just make you feel better in general. What kind of life is that? Bad things certainly suck, but unfortunately that's life. We can't have the good without the bad, but it's how we deal with the bad things that make the good things that much better. What the Kieran did is just a classic example of you can't have your cake and eat it too. And speaking of the Kieran, I loved every single bit of them. Their designs were both very unique and gorgeous, but I really loved how they all suffered the same issue as poor Bruce Banner, with the difference being turning into fire monsters and burning everything. But really, I found how all their anger was personified by turning into Nerex was a fantastic visual representation of what anger feels like, or, more to the point, literally showing what burning anger looks like. And now that I think about it, Autumn Blaze really has a very ironic name for being a Kieran. As for Autumn Blaze herself, I adored everything about her. Her comedic and trollish personality when AJ bumped into her just put a smile on my face. Especially how she talked so damn much to the point she freaked out Applejack, which I can't blame her for since all she had was fruit and sock puppets with faces drawn on them and her beautiful view overlooking a valley as company. And her song, again, fantastic. It probably is my favorite song of Season 8. I like not only how upbeat it was despite being about a horrible part of her and the Kieran's past, but just the lyrics in general and how it served as a message that life is full of both goods and bads, but you can't just simply take away the bad and leave the good.
You can't give up your laughter, 'cause you're scared of a little pain. It's a lesson that the Kieran never learned.
And how you deal with the bad can make the good that much better. Now for some added bonuses. The episode also had a great tension building scene with how the Kieran were about to silence AJ and Fluttershy forever by forcing them into the streams of silence. Good lord, that was just freaky, but in a definite good way. Just think about if Autumn was a second too late, not only would AJ and Fluttershy be just like the Kieran, no one would have been able to find the flowers Autumn needed for her cure, thus showing the Kieran that if they had taken away what they didn't like, they never would have been able to talk again. But again, it's nothing but freaky thinking about someone else deciding that you have to be silent and they're going to take away not only your voice, but your emotions and everything that makes you, you. I said it before, but this little scene was just full of dramatic tension. And finally, the Psycho Train Pony. An over-the-top, batshit insane character straight out of a horror movie made his way into MLP and I loved it. There's not much more I can say. Sounds of Silence for me was the total package. Several fantastic lessons for all ages, possible allegories for posting on the internet, a great new species to add to MLP's roster, a lovable, hilarious, and relatable character in Autumn Blaze, phenomenal character dynamics between Applejack and Fluttershy, good jokes and writing throughout. Really, Sounds of Silence was just a solid episode from start to finish. You know, a few of my friends from The Void said I should come up with a new rating to use for phenomenal episodes, and I think this is the best time to do it. Sounds of Silence is not a green flag episode. This is a checkered flag episode through and through and my personal favorite from Season 8. But now, what did you all think of Sounds of Silence? Please let me know down below and thanks for watching. I'm Mr. Left Turn, I'll see you when I get back from the track.